Star Jasmine is one of the defining plants in our garden. Versatile, hardy, and gifted with a heavenly scent that, at peak bloom, can fill the whole yard and drift into our rooms through windows and doors. This spring, our Star Jasmine bloomed especially early, and by mid-April it had entered that generous moment when the whole plant seemed to glow at once. The flowers are small, but the fragrance is not small at all. It perfumes our days. In this video, I'll show you why this plant has become one of the quiet anchors of our garden, how we train and care for it, what it does well, where it comes from, and why this vine that looks so soft and romantic also has a surprisingly practical side. Welcome to With the Garden. Here in Los Angeles, in a cozy yard, I'm learning and sharing as I go. I hope you'll grow along with me. Let's begin. Star Jasmine was among the very first plants we put into this garden. Over the years, we trained it up walls, over gates, and toward the roof. At one point, we had 8 of them, making flowering entrances and green partitions around the yard. Now we are down to 5 plants, one framing the front of the deck in the shape of a gate, 2 on the wall outside our bedrooms, one trailing the fence between us and our northern neighbor, and the youngest one sharing the small 3-sided trellis with Madeira vine. In spring, they give us the flowers. The rest of the year, they give us that steady background of glossy evergreen leaves. Botanically, this plant is Trachelospermum jasminoides, an evergreen twining vine in the dogbane family, not a true jasmine at all. Its leaves are opposite, smooth, leathery, and deep green, often with bronze tones on young growth or in cooler weather. The flowers arrive in clusters, creamy white and slightly pinwheeling, with 5 narrow lobes that look like little stars. In warm climates, they bloom heaviest in late spring, often with lighter repeat flowering into summer, and the flowers are attractive to hummingbirds and other pollinators. That pattern fits our yard very well. Our Star Jasmine stays green through the year, begins pushing fresh growth as the weather warms, and then moves toward its main bloom season from late April into May. Though this year, it clearly decided to start the celebration early. On some mornings, if we get outside soon enough, we find honeybees working the flowers with serious concentration, while butterflies hover about, as if they are there mostly for the atmosphere. And honestly, who can blame them? A wall of fragrant white stars in morning light is hard to resist. One reason I appreciate this plant so much is that it asks for so little once established. Star Jasmine flowers best in full sun to part shade, prefers fertile, well-drained soil, and likes regular water while getting settled in. After that, it becomes quite drought tolerant. That matches our experience. Over nearly 10 years, we have rarely had to water it deeply, except during especially dry stretches. Pruning, however, is non-negotiable. If you want a neat gate or a tidy wall, you have to keep talking to it with the pruners. It is also easy to propagate by stem cuttings or layering, which is what we did from our original 2 nursery-bought plants. One small note of caution: like many plants with milky sap, when Star Jasmine stems are cut or broken, they release a white latex, which can be a skin irritant for some, so wearing gloves is a good idea when handling it. For all its toughness, Star Jasmine is not invincible. In our yard, the real trouble comes when growth gets too dense and the plant loses good air circulation and sunlight. That was exactly the case with the jasmine that once covered part of our deck wall under the summer canopy. Mealybugs moved in, honeydew built up, and black sooty mold followed, so we had to remove it. The plant itself comes from East Asia, with sources listing China and Japan in its native range, and it has traveled far because gardeners in warm climates fall for the same things we did: fragrance evergreen foliage, and flexibility. In Southern California, it makes particular sense. It can climb a trellis, spill over a wall, cover a fence, or act as a ground cover if given no support. That range of habits is part of its charm. Culturally, this plant has an interesting place in Chinese tradition. The record is clearest not in famous flower symbolism, but in herbal medicine. The stems of Trachelospermum jasminoides, known as luoshiteng, have long been used in traditional Chinese medicine, and modern reviews describe a long history of use for conditions associated with pain and inflammation. I would be careful not to turn that into casual home medical advice, but it does add another layer to the plant. For me, that means Star Jasmine sits at an unusual crossroads, ornamental in the garden, fragrant in the air, and historically medicinal in East Asian herbal practice. So when I stand near our blooming gate in the early morning, I do not think only about flowers. I think about how a plant can become part of the architecture of daily life. It can frame a window, greet us at a threshold, soften a wall, and feed pollinators. And it gives more: shade for the eyes, pleasure for the nose, and that encouragement a beautiful plant can offer at the start of a day. Have you grown Star Jasmine in your garden? Do you keep yours as a vine, a wall, or a gate? I'd love to hear how it behaves where you live. Thank you for watching. If this was helpful or inspiring, please give it a like, share, subscribe, and tell me what you're growing in the comments. See you next time in the garden.